What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here reacting to the 2023 Oscar nominations. I did my Oscar nominations predictions a few weeks back. Now we know who actually got nominated, what movies actually got nominated, and there are some prizes, there are snubs, there are exciting things about these noms. So let's just get into it. There's a lot to talk about. So yeah, I think largely speaking, nothing is super out of the ordinary in terms of what happened in terms of the 2023 Oscar noms. Everything Everywhere All at Once leads the way with 11 nominations. Banshees of Inisherin and All Quiet on the Western Front followed up with 9 apiece. Banshees and Everything Everywhere are the two leading contenders. That's kind of how I think people were feeling going into this. Fablements now seems to feel like a distant third in terms of our three best picture contenders to this point. And of course, I'll be doing my actual Oscar predictions in the weeks to come once we get closer to the ceremony. Of course, the Oscars don't actually happen until March, so we still got some time. But yeah, in terms of the nominations, best picture, I was quite confident in a lot of the movies getting in there, right? All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, Banshees, Elvis, Everything Everywhere, Fablements, Tar, Top Gun. That 8 was pretty safe, pretty locked in for the most part. Triangle of Sadness, I did pick to get in, but I wasn't sure what happened. It did get in. Feel good about that. Women Talking, though, Sarah Polley's film, that got in as you could say the tenth Best Picture nominee. That surprised me because Women Talking had been very under nominated in precursor awards to that point, so I was not expecting that. That of course comes at the expense of Babylon, probably most notably, as well as perhaps Black Panther 2 or RRR, which we were wondering if that could potentially happen. Um, uh, Glass Onion as well, but no, it seems Women Talking managed to rise above, which is great. It's a film directed by a woman. It was a really good movie as well. No women in Best Director this year after winning the past two Best Directors, so that's at least something along those lines. Best Director, pretty straightforward. The top four that we knew were going to be there were there: Mark McDonagh, the Daniels, Steven Spielberg, Todd Field. The fifth spot, which was the one up for grabs, myself and basically everyone was saying, well, if the past few years are any indication, the international nature of the Academy will almost surely propel a international director once again to be nominated. The question was, of course, who would that be? I had picked Ruben Östlund, but I had started to change my tune after doing my predictions, just because obviously Rajmouli for RRR felt like a choice, but honestly, I was kind of expecting it to be Edward Berger, the director of All Quiet on the Western Front, after that movie got so many nominations and so many craft nominations as well. So yeah, that's probably the one, but no, it ended up being Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. So my gut was correct. Feel good about that. Uh, Moving on, Best Actor. Again, that top four, very obvious. Austin Butler, Colin Farrell, Brendan Fraser, Bill Nye. That fifth spot, though, what was that going to be? I had acknowledged that it felt like it was probably Paul Mescal and After Sun, just because there was a bit of confusion about who else could take that spot when it seemed pretty obvious it wasn't going to be Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick. And it ended up being Paul Mescal. I didn't love After Sun. He's the best part of that. And I am a huge fan of Paul Mescal, though. So that's a really kind of exciting nomination. Notably, this is the first time since 1934 where all five Best Actor nominees are first time nominees. Kind of wild that that's the case, but that is the case. Uh, Best Actress is decidedly not like Best Actor. There's a lot going on here, right? So at the top, you have your the top two contenders: Michelle Yeoh, Kate Blanchett. We knew they were going to be there. Those are the only two people that can win. Got that done. From here on out, though, it's quite interesting. I'd acknowledge Ana de Armas with Blonde seemed to be rising with Guild nominations. She did get in. Shout out Anna. Michelle Williams for The Fablemans. I had not picked that to happen. I thought she was going to miss out, even though it's more of a supporting performance. I thought just the strength of this category, she was going to perhaps slip out. No, Michelle Williams did get in. So that one surprised me at least a little bit. But of course, perhaps the biggest, no, definitely the biggest talking point, the biggest flashpoint of the 2023 Oscar nominations would be Andrea Riseborough's nomination in Best Actress for To Leslie. I didn't really even acknowledge this in my predictions episode because this was such a late breaking awards campaign that I just didn't think it was remotely possible. Of course, I had been picking Daniel Deadweiler for Till and Viola Davis for the Woman King to get in there in place of Riseborough and Williams. And the Andrea Riseborough campaign obviously is so notable at this point because it started off and became quite quickly like viral online, but it's notable in the sense that this was not a financed awards push by a film studio for an aspect of one of their movies. No, this was really a grassroots networking campaign in terms of Riseborough being connected to the rest of the industry and genuinely having that being pushed through. Now, on one hand, you can decry this kind of campaign for its elitism, its crassness. On the other hand, it's not unlike how awards campaigns have worked in the past. And the fact that it truly was grassroots and not just a big money dump in terms of promotion, you know, in a sense, I would tip my hat to the fact that they were able to pull this off. How ethical was it? We don't know the whole story still, but it the gross part to me though is that a white woman and all of her wealthy white friends for the most part were able to get this nomination, and it freezes out Viola Davis and Daniel Deadweiler, two black women. um, that does make you feel a bit off, a bit gross. um, I haven't seen To Leslie, to be clear. Few people have. It has been well received, but this is really, I think, one of the most surprising successful awards campaigns in terms of nomination in recent memory, honestly, and it's certainly notable. You know, Viola Davis not getting in there. She's been nominated a lot. Past few years, I think will be okay. More than anything, I'm just disappointed that The Woman King gets completely blanked. No nominations at all. It's a tremendous movie, but felt like it perhaps lost out in a year where there were other bigger blockbustery movies to fill that void instead. A bit disappointing. Daniel Deadweiler, I'm sure she'll be back. She's a great actor and tremendous on Station 11 on HBO, for example. So, been unfortunate for them, but it's a interesting story that you rarely see in terms of nominations. So that's something. Best Supporting Actor, the top three, not surprising: Kiwi Kwan, Barry Keoghan, Brendan Gleeson. No shocks there. Uh, Judd Hirsch was the Fablemans nomination, not Paul Dano. I figured Paul Dano would get in there. No, he misses out. Judd Hirsch gets in there, sets the record for most time between nominations, 42 years. That's pretty cool. And then the fifth spot, even more surprisingly, but I'm very happy about, would be my guy Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, the Apple TV Plus film with Jennifer Lawrence. Tyree Henry, great performance, great presence in that movie. I just didn't think there was much of a campaign for his performance. I certainly did not think he would cross through there, but definitely a welcome surprise. And Tyree Henry, I think for people that know him, has been one of like the great actors of the last 5-6 years at this point. So this is a really welcome nomination. Of course, I think he was certainly deserving of a nom, a few years back for If Beale Street Could Talk, for example. So this is really cool. Really happy for him. Best Supporting Actress, a bit more straightforward: Angela Bassett, Hong Chow, Carrie Condon, Jamie Lee Curtis, Stephanie Sue. I guess the only surprise there is that both Curtis and Stephanie Sue, for Everything Everywhere, they both got in. That was the thing I was kind of picking against. I thought perhaps Dolly De Leon for Triangle of Sadness would probably bump Stephanie Sue out. No, it didn't happen. More than anything, I think that shows just how strong Everything Everywhere is this year in terms of Best Picture. So that's like that's the core awards right there. You know, uh, if we keep looking, you know, Everything Everywhere and Banshees, they both have Best Picture, Best Director, and Original Screenplay nominations, in addition to 4 acting nominations. That just really shows you that that's like the cream of the crop this year. I think that's kind of clear. Um, if you look at Best International Feature Film, I think there was a big shock here. All Quiet on the Western Front, with the favorite, was of course here Best Picture nominated as well. So, well, in addition to Argentina 1985, Close and EO, I had predicted all four of them to get in. However, South Korea's decision to leave from Park Chan Wook is not here. Really mind blowing to me. In its place, you have a movie I have not seen yet, The Quiet Girl from Ireland. Gosh, I mean, Kyle Buchanan at the New York Times, to his credit, had acknowledged that he had a feeling that decision to leave was a bit polarizing with the Academy. I think it's a really admirable movie. I liked it quite a bit. It's in my top like 13 on the year, whatever. I thought for sure it would get in, especially because Park Chan Wook is so celebrated in the the international film community, and also because his last film, 2016's The Handmaiden, did not get into this category either. Surely they were going to make that up with such a strong effort this year, but no, it didn't get in. That really shocked me, especially because if I was going to pick something to bump it out, I would have picked perhaps the Corsage with Vicky Krieps, for example. I wasn't even thinking of The Quiet Girl, so that's quite the surprise to me, honestly, um, and a bit of a shame because I think Decision to Leave is really great. Um, Moving on, I think best original song. This in and of itself is not surprising, but just really cool to have this much actual star power in the category in terms of Lady Gaga, Rihanna, uh, uh, Natu Natu, of course, from RRR, which will be the winner. And who am I forgetting? Gosh, Rihanna, Lady Gaga, and David Byrne, of course. Yeah, exciting category. Um, yeah, I think everything else, nothing too shocking. Animated feature: Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcellus Shell Suzanne, Puss in Boots 2, Turning Red from Pixar. And then the fifth spot, I'm very happy to see, is Netflix The Sea Beast, a movie I liked quite a bit. I thought perhaps Netflix was going to push Wendell and Wild through, but no, they got The Sea Beast in there. That's really exciting. That's really fun. Um, yeah, so we'll leave it at that. I think overall, nothing too shocking apart from the really baffling stuff with Andrea Riseborough. So stay tuned for my Oscar predictions later in March, and let me know who you were excited to see get nominated, who got snubbed, in your opinion. And for more movies, more Oscars, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.